the sun is out, the sky is blue. It's
fabulous day.
It's an ideal day for barbecuing, but first thing first, kind of where should one be doing it location-wise?
You've got to think very carefully before you put your barbecue out, because you don't really want to be in a place where it's very, very windy. You want to have somewhere there's a little bit of shelter. Last thing you want to be doing is upsetting those neighbours you're trying to make friends with by having smoke pouring into their garden.
But what should they be cooking? How should they be cooking it?
Well, the first thing you should start with is the heat of your coals. What you don't want to be doing is to start putting food on here before the coals are the right temperature. Now, we're using a gas-powered barbecue here today, but on a more traditional charcoal-based barbecue, you've got to make sure that the coals are white hot. There's like a white powdery surface on the coals.
Okay.
That's the point at which you know you're ready to cook. Start any earlier than that and you're not going to cook the meat through properly. And don't fall into that temptation, which a lot of people do on old style barbecues, pouring some lighter fluid on there because you're impatient. The most important thing about barbecues is patience and preparation.
How can you be sure that it actually has cooked properly?
Well, the most important thing with sausages and with chicken is to pierce the meat, and if the juices run clear, then you know you've cooked the food through properly. But what I would suggest on the thicker pieces of meat, particularly chicken, or maybe if you're doing some red meat or some ribs on there, is to pre-cook it in the oven. Corn on the cob, again, preparation, great thing for those. Boil that from cold water for 12 minutes. Well, after 12 minutes, take it out, put it straight onto the barbecue, and then you can marinate it with your favourite flavours as you're going along. And we're using Nando's sauces today. We've got, for example, the chicken here has been marinated in some lime and coriander marinade. We've also used some smoky barbecue on some of the other meat. The important thing is to have a variety of different flavours and different meats. Now, it's not about just burgers and sausages anymore. Your whole point is to have a range of different meats and flavours. And invariably, your neighbours will come around with a different piece of meat that you've not cooked before. And we haven't got any on here today, but even fish. People are scared of fish because it's a difficult, because it's going to fall through the bars on the grill, and it's going to fall in there, and you have to pick pieces of chicken out, fish out. Absolutely, no, it's not. No, you can cut the head off before you start, but they always think it's going to fall apart.
Yeah. What about other bits and pieces like your salads and your breads and things like that? I suppose that's room where you can use a bit of imagination.
Absolutely. Well, look over here. We've got here a very, very simple salad of grated carrot with butter beans and raisins. A very, very simple, just green salad. Yeah. We've pre-prepared some pita bread and some French baguette. We've got a few pineapple rings which you might want to put on top of the chicken, or maybe a little bit of cheese.
Tell me about the marinating.
Our recommendation, very, very simply, is to try and marinate things as long as possible. If you can do it overnight, then you get much more flavour into the chicken. And the whole point of marinating is not just to add flavour, but to tenderise the meat that you're cooking. But then we recommend is that you keep the flavour going through the cook. So don't just marinate before, use the marinade as a basting sauce. Okay. Just add a little bit of that. But here we are, I've got a bit of honey soy and ginger, and as this has been cooked along, just simply we can add a little more flavour. And look how delicious that looks. That looks succulent, in fact almost ready to eat.
Fantastic stuff, Phil. You've put on a wonderful spread for us. All that remains now is for us, our neighbours and our family to sit down and enjoy it. Cheers.